to pray. There's no angels where I go, only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Alrighty, hello everybody, this is Kiru Show here. Now, whenever we last left off, Deku, he had just found himself in a bit of a new situation. Something he's actually a little bit proud of. Now, he just watched Ida break Stain's fucking neck after beating him, the ever-living shit out of him. Now, with that being said, they have left Stain. And Ida is still trying to get over it. Deku just saying that it gets easier. Ida still not really believing in himself. He got his revenge, but why doesn't he feel better about it? Deku seeing Ida's face, telling him that that's not how it works, if that's what you're thinking. Ida staring directly at him. Deku just saying that he'll feel better soon, just not right now. You realize that you just saved a lot of people from dying. Now, Ida feels this is a hollow victory, but he'll take it. As they head back. And Deku would have somewhat lied about it. Not really a lie. More or less, they went on a mission because they believed Deku saw a Templar moving something. Not really much of a lie. But not really much of the truth either. Basically, they did some light surveillance. Now, it is very early in the morning, and everyone is making breakfast. And, well, there are some people talking. As Ida sits down, with Todoroki, Bakugo, and everyone else. They're all getting ready. One of them basically saying that they heard something about on the news earlier. Apparently someone killed the hero killer. As Ida takes a sip of water, with a lot of bruises on his face, saying one simple phrase. Huh, weird. As he continues to sip. And, well, he's noticing something. Deku isn't anywhere to be seen. So, where is he? Well, he's probably got some duties to attend to. He is considered to be a higher rank than us. Even then, I think he should be here, right? Now, Ida would just stand up, saying that he thinks he knows where Deku's room is, walking towards his direction. Since Deku is a higher rank, he does have his own personalized room within the facility, and Ida would be waiting there, as he does knock on the door. Basically watching as he opens it, and there's Momo. She's standing there at least inspecting one of Deku's new swords, and Deku would just come walking out of the bathroom, with a pair of gloves and, well, his hair somewhat tied up, or at least wet, staring at him. A bit confused. Deku basically telling Momo that he's going to need her help on this. He can't get the back very well. To which she would just say that she'll help him then. Now, he's a bit confused as to why Momo's even here. But it gets a little bit more confusing when he watches Deku hand her a bottle of hair dye. Wait, he dyes his hair? Now, that situation would be over with, and Deku would ask Ida what he's doing here. Ida is still trying to process that, would just be asking about what they're going to be doing today. Deku looking at him and explaining that he's supposed to be training with the others, so just train with them right now and eventually we'll have something to do. Since I kind of vouched for you, well, I'm guessing I'm your little leader of renegades. What? Well, I mean, yeah. You guys basically listen to me and talk to me and stuff like that, so from what the elder said, he's basically giving me responsibility over all of you. And if you fuck up, apparently I'm gonna take the hit for it. So, I need to train with him. So I'm gonna be leaving Tokuyami and Toga in charge of you guys. As Deku does at least draft his hair. A little bit. Walking out. Momo saying that she has to do something else too. Leaving. With that being said, Toga would see Ida and actually tell him to follow her. They need to go somewhere. As she is in a new outfit. Ida actually staring at her. She's in a white gown, or at least something. So, exactly what is she doing here? He wouldn't really care until she does at least scream at him, a little bit higher this time, telling him to actually move his ass, as he just runs off. And she would join them all for breakfast. With that being said, Deku would meet outside. Now, Deku, he would meet outside with the Elder, and actually see the man. The man is in a robe, and he is clearly waiting for Deku. As Deku steps out, asking the man exactly what they're supposed to be doing today. The man explained to Deku that he is going to be going through some more training. Actually advanced. Besides, you should be highly honored. You are training with an elder of the Creed. So, I will not go easy on you, child. Deku is somewhat wanting to smirk a bit, telling the man that he has Eden on his side, so he'll go easy on him. The elder is somewhat just dropping his rope. Deku is saying that this old man, which he thought was just slumped over, well, he's not. He's a lot buffer than he thought, so clearly this challenge will be something. The man immediately rushing forwards. Deku's surprised. He's a lot faster than he thought. The man's around All Might's size. In fact, it's a bit alarming. You didn't really realize it underneath that robe. You just thought he was a very tall man. So, clearly that's his problem. As he holds his hands outwards and begins throwing a blast, the old man telling him that he is not permitted to use Eden Tech during their training. Deku realizing exactly how screwed he might be. But he would rely on his own combat experience. Just thinking. He may have a lot more time on him and a lot more kills, but he's done something the man hasn't really had to do. As the man is rushing towards Deku, dodging from his left to his right, going up, down, and actually jumping around on trees. Deku basically keeping his feet moving, not standing in one place. If he stays standing in one place, he will be a sitting target. So, this is whenever Deku, he would grab a handful of dirt, and at least keep it on him, sliding it into his back pocket. The old man not really paying attention to Deku, just watching the movements of his body, as he would finally attack. Rushing forwards and going to punch Deku. Deku bringing his hand up to block the man's fist. The man immediately opening his fist and jabbing in Deku's hand with his fingers, actually hurting Deku's arms. The man beginning to stab into his stab his hands outwards like they're spikes, attacking Deku. Deku getting more and more annoyed as he tries to throw a kick. The man backing up a bit and immediately throwing his elbow forwards, hitting Deku across the face. This man is clearly on something. Not just that, what is his quirk? Now, Deku is basically thrown around like a ragdoll for 20 to 30 minutes. With that happening, he would also get quite a few injuries. The old man actually walking forwards, telling Deku that without Eden Tech, then he is virtually still human. As Deku, he's just, looking at the ground. The man picking up by his shirt collar, telling Deku to listen to his lesson. This lesson was about humility, child. The next one will be proper combat training. Deku bringing his hand up into his back pocket, and immediately pulling it out, smashing it into the man's face, covering his eyes, as he socks the man across the nose, and actually begins to lay into him himself. He was waiting to see if the man would get tired, and he just let his guard down. Deku actually being able to jab him across the face, then actually jump upwards and hit him into his throat. The man somewhat grabbing it and actually coughing quite a bit, as he does fall down toward the ground on his hands and knees. Deku actually laying into one of his sides, kicking him in it and actually just jabbing him in the back of the face. Playing dirty. The man eventually getting back up, telling Deku that that was at least good. However, don't rely on simple tricks to win a fight. I would have killed you if this were serious. So would I. Touché. Well, I believe that concludes training for, an hour. The old man somewhat coughing, saying that Deku will be training with others later, and, quite possibly his own unit, or his team. Deku just saying that he's in charge of them, right? Yes, you are. What about the ones that step out of line? What can I do with them? Well, do whatever you think is best. But it's not out of the realm of possibility to quite simply just kill them. Members, or leaders, have been seen to do that way. Deku's a bit on the no side of that. The man just saying, don't worry, don't worry. Those men usually get killed quickly. As the man would just state, that type of leadership is not permitted anymore in the Brotherhood. It was at one point in our history, but, things changed. I believe that Yaoyorozu's, not descendant, ancestor, Altair changed that with his master. Deku a bit confused, but at least understanding that. As he would leave, the elder telling him to come back outside in about, an hour. He would like to test his combat prowess seriously. Now, Deku would head inside, asking exactly where Momo is. Them telling Deku that she is actually in the lab, and she's actually doing a test for some of the members of the Creed. Deku a bit confused. Why are they doing a test on Momo? As he would walk into the lab, seeing her basically on an animus, immediately annoyed and running over, telling them to take her out of that prison. The scientist actually telling Deku that it's okay. She is actually safe and perfectly fine. As Momo would just say that she's actually doing pretty well in here. This place isn't as bad as you say it is. I've spent a lot of my time there. At first, it's a little cool. Then, reality set in. Yeah, sorry about that, Midoriya. But they said I could at least unlock something from this. Well, apparently from... apparently from records of the Creed and other members, The first civilization, well, there's not really any way to say this without sounding bad, they made hybrids with humans. And this hybrid race was one of the few people who survived, meaning that these hybrids carried over a genetic trait from the people who created us. Deku a bit confused, turning to the scientist and asking if that means that, well, yes, it's basically like a actual sixth sense that she may carry, meaning that she may be able to actually see and interface with tech, or not interface, but at least look around and see things that we can't. Basically, only markers that people have been trained to see, like her and her family. Now, they would turn off the animus and stop her test, as she would be able to move and actually get up. As she stands up, she somewhat wobbles as Deku grabs her, asking her if she's okay. Deku, he would just look at her as she somewhat smiles, saying that she is, but, well, this is a bit weird. As her eyes, her pupils somewhat dilate, Deku just confused. Her looking around, asking why the room just got dark. Deku just stares at the scientist, as they're somewhat beginning to take notes down. Momo actually saying that it seems weird, as she blinks and it goes away. Her basically explaining that that was actually pretty cool. But I kinda don't want to try that again. Not without at least getting my footing first. As Deku begins to ask her a bit of questions. Her explaining what she can to the scientist, and other things. Deku and her just walking away. Deku, he goes to get some water, and he does hand her a water bottle, as the two talk for a little while about how things have been. Along with that, they do hear somewhat of a bit of ruckus. Bakugo and everyone is somewhat making a scene. During training, apparently the partner Bakugo was paired up with, well, they beat him, and Bakugo is annoyed, since he cannot use his quirk. However, Deku would just walk over, telling Bakugo that if he uses his quirk, things won't be as hard. The point of training is to get a workout, not to make this a light breeze. Like you would know, you've never gone through this. Actually, I'm fighting an old guy in the forest right now. Tokoyami walking over to Bakugo, saying that if he's having trouble, then just remember, using your quirk won't make it any better. In fact, with your quirk, you might actually make your problem worse. Bakugo getting annoyed, as he sparks explosions. Deku looking directly at Momo. Her just shrugging, telling him to do whatever he thinks is best. Deku doing so, as he brings his hand up and cracks his knuckles. Bakugo just looking at him asking if he really wants to go. Deku just holding out his hand, opening his palm and shocking Bakugo. Bakugo falling to the ground. Everyone a bit, well, surprised. Deku saying that he's not dead. However, he might be out for about 10 minutes. Tell him if he keeps complaining, then, well, I'm gonna kick his ass again. As he walks away, and heads for the surface. Momo actually accompanying him. She has an opening in her schedule, and she actually does want to see this fight. And the way Deku described this guy seemed a bit more like All Might. Plus, if he's helping her, well, if he's helping Midoriya train, he could probably help her on One for All. She's turned it on a few times, but she doesn't want to try testing it, in case it can blow off her limbs. So, she does need a hand on that. With that, they would both arrive on the surface. Deku actually watching as Momo begins to ask this old man some questions about his quirk, asking if he knows anything about enhancements. To which the old man would someone just tell Momo that he does not, sadly. He does not have an enhancement quirk. In fact, the quirk he has would be a bit weird in the situation. But you do need to know. If you just think about it, what have you been doing with that quirk? Um, as she just brings her hand up, turning on the one for all, as he just stares at it, asking her why she's only centralizing in one place. Is it like a fire quirk? What? No, no, it's not. Well then, I do think this may be part of your problem. Your... let's see. I do think that's a good idea. Have you ever heard of muscle augmentation quirks? Um, I think so. Well, do you remember that man? I believe his name was Muscular. Someone shot him dead during your encounter with us the first time. Do you remember his muscles or his muscle mass? Um, yeah, actually, I do. He had muscles that wrapped all around his body, all around his torso and parts of his legs. What about it? Yes, I do believe you should try doing something like that. Momo is looking at him a bit confused, before realizing what he's talking about. Actually turning up one furl quite a bit, as she turns on a, well, slower version of full cowling, it being centralized in her torso, and staying there. The old man basically explaining that she needs to let it all throughout her body. Her actually doing so. The old man a bit surprised. This has only taken 20 minutes to try and explain. Usually, people don't like to listen to him, or at least focus on what he's saying. Then again, he's being very direct, so she'll at least do fine. As Momo does one simple thing, she actually does move her hands around and do what Toro said, holding one of her hands out and snapping her fingers. As soon as he snaps her hand, there is a small shock wave, somewhat flying at a tree and hitting it, making a loud sound. Momo actually surprised, looking directly at Deku. The old man watching this, as he does sit down, and do one little thing. He immediately just grabs into his bag and pulls out the stuff to make tea, turning on his cork in his finger, lighting a small fire. Now, with that being said, Deku, him and Momo would be told to spar together, and actually enjoy what they have. These two a bit confused. The old man somewhat just saying that he is quite aware of their little relationship. They do not hide it very well. So, you two enjoy the fight. I will just be here with my tea. Now, Momo and Deku begin to fight. Since I do want to say that Deku, in canon, his version of One For All is stronger than All Might's. It is never stated how much stronger, but it is very, very high up there. So, I want to say that Deku, he's at least twice as strong as Canon All Might. I'm not sure if that is true or not. But since Momo is the successor after Canon Deku, so the 11th successor, I believe, or the 10th, then that would mean her version of One For All is twice as strong as All Might's, or at least stronger than Canon Deku's. Now, she would turn on 16%, finding it to be very, very troublesome, and somewhat trying to turn herself down. She turns herself down to about, well, 10%, which is 20 in canon. Now, with that, she would actually face off against Deku, as she rushes forwards. Deku, seeing that she's actually faster than the old man, and getting on guard, immediately letting out a shockwave. Momo somewhat just holding out her hands and creating something, as she pushes off with them. She basically created springs in her hands, or well, jumping pogo sticks, and made herself go skyward with the amount of force she put down on them. As Deku's getting ready, bringing his hands up because she's basically a sitting duck, as she makes a shield, making it very, very fast. She hasn't created a big object in quite a while, so she actually expected that to be a bit slower. As Deku fires lightning directly into the shield, and tries to send out another shockwave. As Momo's shield, she would bring it under her feet, actually hitting the shockwave as she just jumps up higher once again, and is able to smack down on the Deku. Bring her hand up as Deku basically does one simple thing. He creates another shockwave and tries to send her flying, with a bigger, powerful one this time. This actually knocking her off guard. Deku was just messing around, but now he has to get serious. Bringing both his hands up, and shooting fire, along with actually creating an illusion. Momo will be running forwards as she does try and tackle Deku once again. She phases right through her Midoriya as she gets surrounded by more. Them all just bring their hands up. Deku has used this trick on Tokoyami. So, which one's the real him? As she begins to randomly run forwards. She runs forwards once and it's not the right him. And she does have to actually keep a shield up, basically being shocked and hit with a lot of power. As the real Deku, he's actually just standing up in a tree, manipulating things down there, waiting for her to somewhat pay attention. If she sees him, he will immediately jump down, so as to not get caught. Now, with that being said, Momo would still be having trouble, as she does take out two of the Dekus behind her, and the other two immediately fading, as Deku actually does jump in, sneaking back into the battle as she did not expect it. As Deku would run forwards and immediately put her in a headlock, her trying to get out of it, and shake off Deku. She is able to at least grab him, but as soon as she goes to throw him, she basically does just rip off his shirt. And it does not work. She put too much force into that, as she actually does need to give up. She would just say that she concedes, or just gives up, and Deku would let go of her, as she would turn around. Quite a bit exhausted, but also a bit annoyed. He used a trick against her. So, did you have fun? Well, I did actually. How about you? Oh, I'm having a blast. As she basically moves forwards, immediately kissing him once again. Deku just brings his hands up and wrapping them around her. The old man's somewhat just, well, sitting there, asking them if they are thirsty after training. To which they would say yes, sitting down and enjoying a cup of tea with the man. As he goes over saying that the creed is a, well, difficult lifestyle, and a challenge that has come with him. Whenever he first started, the war with Abstergo was a bit more difficult, and, well, a bit more grey. Deku confused, as the old man would say that Obstrego didn't really seem bad at the time, but from what he believes that Midori's life experiences are with the company, they are evil. Yes, but they do try and believe in their own sick, twisted way that they have humanity's best interest in mind. So, you have to remember that your enemy does have a, well, good or moral standpoint on their own side. Deku confused at this meaning. Basically, the old man is saying that everybody thinks they're right, even when they are wrong. Deku understanding this a bit better. The old man standing up and saying that that is enough time for rest. Now they will commence their next session of training. The old man cracking his knuckles, telling Deku to get ready. Now, that is going to be where I leave this part off, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next parts.